Yes, very much. How about, can I call you back in about an hour?
Oh, yeah.
Or will you?
Bob, mute everyone, remute yourself.
Bird is still on my rope.
Okay, can you hear me, Diane? Okay, good morning, boys and girls. Let's go ahead and get the party started. Today is March 20th. Today is March 20th. I didn't see any new faces, so I'll just welcome the existing members. The main coming attractions, we've got March 31st is the deadline for the Two Truths and a Lie. Those are due to April Taylor, and there's her email address. I've sent it to you a couple of times. Also sent you some tips on how to come up with those. This is going to be the main feature in our end of season gathering on April 3rd, which is just right around the corner. So let's focus on getting those in. Last time I checked, we were up to 8, but would certainly like to have a lot more than that. It'll be a lot of fun, so please do it. April has a lot of experience with this because of her tours. It's an icebreaker they use on tours, and it's certainly something we can take advantage of here. And I'm going to rely on her expertise to run the thing. So anyway, get those in as soon as possible. And then April 3rd, of course, is the end of season gathering. Woohoo! And you can dress or bring your snacks and beverages of choice, whatever you want. It's just 2 hours of fun. There's no meeting, there's no presentation, there's no nothing. Just end of season buffoonery. So come and enjoy it. October 16th, that'll be our welcome back meeting. It'll be in person, live from Mesa, Arizona, and it'll be starring us. Right now we have the landscapes going. It's really grown. Thanks, everyone. I bumped into Jeannie Fleur on the porch the other day, and she was wandering around in a quandary on whether it was okay to use that black box. So what I did was I put a logo on it now, so it says LW Photo Club. So that'll help. So thanks for that suggestion, Jeannie. Should have done that a long time ago. Okay, and that's a max of 3 photos, and that's due by March 31st. Look at all the participants we've got. We got Bob, Connie, Jeannie, Paula, Ruth, and Walt. So thank you to all of those participants. And as you know, the default for that is that they will be donated to charity when we're done with them. Okay, the weekly challenge, we got technology this week. That's 8 photos by today. Didn't have a heavy participation in it, but about the same as Candy. I think that some of these ones that we're getting toward the end here are a little more challenging than the ones we had earlier in the year. So, and I'll be writing the schedule over the summer. In fact, I've already started getting ready for next year. And we have a committee that did a great job on preparing our scavenger hunt and our weekly and monthly challenges. So I'll be putting that all together in the proper format to be ready for next year. All right, then next week we have wavy lines, again, 8 photos, either in the lockbox or in the upload folder. We only have 2 lessons left. Today we're going to have photos from above, which is learning how to get photos from a different perspective rather than just head on or kneeling. And then next week we'll wrap things up with smartphones. And I think that's an excellent place to end our season as far as lessons go. And I'm going to work with Walt over the summer, and he's going to help me with a lot of the educational and stuff that we provide to you guys as part of our membership. Meetings at a glance, this is where we stand. March 20th. And you can see that there's only one more regular meeting left. And then it's the end of season party. So we have that. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to our share. Let's see here. Okay. Al, you want to unmute yourself and walk us through yours? Al, go ahead and unmute yourself.
There you go. Okay. The technology doesn't go anywhere without the power on.
For sure.
And this is one of the log ships that go over to Japan. We send our logs over there and they send us back the plywood and all that kind of stuff, sell it to us.
Oh, the
That's in
longboat. Yeah.
that's in Puget Sound. And it's taken off of my front of my dad's place. It used to be his place. This is railroad. I figured that one time was technology. And this is down in Mesa, the cell phone towers. They look a lot different around here.
You don't have palm trees.
Yeah, we don't have palm trees around here. I think
you-
they do have fir tree ones sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen fir trees, palm trees, and then just plain with nothing.
Yeah. You see a lot of the nothing ones around here.
Exactly. Is that the needle?
And that was new technology in, when was that? 1963 or something like that. Well, that's the Space Needle, and it's a rotating restaurant on the top. Boy, is it beautiful. It's in the fall when when it's really beautiful out and everything. Oh, that's got to be one of the most beautiful views you've ever seen, with the lights coming on in the city and everything.
Great
But
shot.
anyway, next. And that's the floating bridge. That must have been technology sometime or another, because that's quite a feat to be able to put a bridge across Lake Washington like that. Goes from Bellevue to Seattle. And this was a technology in the Second World War, I guess. This is in Oregon. It's the Tillamook Air Museum. And this is the cranes that they have down in Seattle. They load the boats with those. That's technology.
You bet. Great. Thanks, Hal. Appreciate it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, you're welcome.
Nice job.
Can I interject? This is April. On those cranes, just a FYI,
Sure.
those cranes were, Steven Spielberg used those in his Star Wars movies, when he saw them as some of those, I can't remember the name of those robots that he had in the Star Wars movies, but that's where he got the idea, was from those cranes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just an FYI.
That's good to
Yeah,
know.
that's interesting.
Good to know.
All right.
Okay, Helen, you're up.
Hello, I'm not even sure that these qualify as technology.
They all do. If you say I learned my lesson well from questioning house candy. I'll never question that again. I learned my lesson well. If it's candy, it's going in.
This was part of a synchronized light show in Tempe or Phoenix or somewhere. And this is a slot machine. I thought that's a piece of technology.
I hope you didn't get caught taking that picture.
I know
they would've
you're not
arrested you.
allowed to do it. I know.
I know.
I don't know how I did it. This is a prototype, I think, for Virgin Galactic in New Mexico.
Oh,
Wow,
wow.
good for you.
Yeah. It was at the museum in, I think it's Alamogordo, I think.
Cool.
And this is a weaving mill in Ireland. So some of it's done by hand and some of it's done by machine.
Tie by hand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Thank you, Helen. Those are terrific.
Thank you.
Ruth K., you're up.
This is the Glen Canyon Dam, which is quite an amazing story if you ever go visit the dam and find out what goes into building this thing. It just boggles your mind. And then there's a mile-long tunnel that you can drive through, or a bus can drive you through to come down here. And we took a float trip just below the dam here. That's how I was able to get this picture.
That's really something, isn't it?
It is.
That is a beautiful picture.
It's a great shot. Yeah, well done.
And this
Wow.
is the Titan silo, not a kind of technology we are thrilled to know about, I think, but this is in Green Valley, Arizona.
Excellent.
This is the channel out of Lake Macatawa in Holland, Michigan, and this is this boat. I can't think of the name of it. Comes in and out of this channel several times a month to pick up, I think, automobile parts, steel.
I don't think I've ever seen black smoke. I wonder if it's using coal or something.
I don't know.
I've never seen black smoke. That's unusual. Nice shot.
And I think the technology to build these musical instruments is quite awesome. So I took this picture of.
I agree.
Yeah. They have street musicians in Holland on Thursday nights. You can walk down the street and listen.
Is that to take care of all the tourists that come to see the tulips?
Well, this is during the summer, so the tulips are gone, but yeah, they do this all summer.
Oh, okay.
And this is, no matter how fancy technology gets with yachts and boats, I still love the wooden ones best.
You bet. A lot of hand craftsmanship there.
They're so beautiful. And this is kind of mind-boggling technology. I don't know how they made this thing, but this is the bean. That wasn't the original name, but it came to be called the bean in downtown Chicago, and it reflects the whole city all the way around it.
The name of art.
Quite
A piece of
interesting.
art.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This is Page, Arizona, and this is the Navajo generating plant. And I thought that was quite a cool shot.
That maybe wind up being a classic shot because I think it's been shut down.
Oh, really?
I think you're right.
Yeah, that might wind up being a classic shot. You might want to hang on to that.
Man,
I love this shot. Oh my God.
I know this is actually, I took this in a candy store when I was doing candy pictures, and they had this display of cameras, and I thought, well,
Where was it?
in Kierland in Phoenix, or
Kierland Commons?
yeah, the Commons there, the shopping center.
And what store was it?
It was a candy store. I was in there taking candy pictures, and this was in the display there.
Do you mind if I use that for our website?
Oh, go for it. That's a really fun
I love
shot.
that shot. That's a show shot. You ought to be really proud of that. I love that shot. But that's just me.
Well, it makes us appreciate our technology today.
Oh man, I love that shot. And there's an Oscar right in the middle, just in time for the Oscars.
There is.
Nice job, Ruth. Thank you so much. Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'll use that shot
Sure,
somewhere
you
on
may.
the web.
Yes, go for it.
Okay. Val, you're up.
Okay, most of mine these are from the Oregon coast and has to do with the waterfront. So this is some technology here.
Very nice.
Here's a little close-up of that.
I like it.
Their shot. They have a lot of technology on those ships. That's the bridge at Newport with the truck going over.
It took technology to build that.
Yep, it sure did. And that's a guy deep sea diving down there at the ocean. There's a couple of guys working way up high. That one guy looks like he's hanging there on just by the skin of his teeth there. There they are again.
Yeah.
I like the red shoes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's a good shot.
That's also the bridge at Newport, Oregon.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay. The first one I have is a video, and this is at the MIM.
And what would they be dancing to? Well, they would be dancing the typical European dances, the waltz, the polka. But let's face it, it says jazz. Jazz was very, very popular in Europe. It remains so today. And think of it, between 1925 and 1930, the Great American Songbook was being written by the Gershwins, Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, Fats Waller, Jerome Kern. It was a wonderful time for American music, and all of that traveled overseas to Europe. And to sort of demonstrate that, we're going to play two jazz numbers for you. The first one is the Samba Rumba. Samba's a South American dance, the rumba's a Cuban dance, but you hear African rhythms throughout. The second one, you'll recognize immediately as an American jazz standard, but it started as a Belgian Christmas carol. So let's get this cranked up. You're going to hear a compressor come on for the organ.
Okay, on a different note, this is a sea turtle preserve in Mexico. What it is the sea turtles come out of the sea and they lay their eggs in the sand, but not too many of them survive into growing up to be sea turtles because their predators eat them. So what these people do is they go down and they harvest those eggs and then they plant them here. And I think the pipes, the stick sticking up, not only indicates where there's a sea turtle egg, but it also indicates, I believe, how long it's been there, if I remember right. And these are the the turtle's eggs. This is definitely technology. This is a Panama Canal.
Wow, it's not very big.
And this, I believe, was in, oh man, I'm having trouble remembering where that was. But it was a
Is that
whole
was
plaza.
Mexico?
The whole
Costa
plaza that had a bunch of these.
Yeah, Costa Rica, Bob.
Rica?
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, was it Cartagena?
I don't know. I took the same pictures. They're good.
Yeah.
Just sitting there like that.
There's a chess. I also had a chess player and a bunch of others too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Phoenix Zoo lights. Definitely a technology involved in that. And this one, I got to tell you a little story on this one. My cousin that lives in Houston, her son was always a big believer in organ donation. And as fate would have it, he was only 23 years old. He stopped to help somebody on the side of the road. And unfortunately, a semi truck killed him, crashed with him and the person that he stopped to help. And because it was on his license that he was an organ donor, his organs went on to affect 9 different people's lives, including restoring sight to a woman in Japan whose retina he donated. So I thought that's a little bit of technology involved in all of that. But 9 lives were affected by a 23-year-old tragedy. So
Wow.
anyway, on a lighter note,
Oh, goodness.
let's move on to our lesson for the day.
Oh, that video was great. Thank you.
Yeah, did you see the organs move? The accordions moving at the top,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
drums banging and everything?
That
Yeah,
was really fun.
yeah, that was fun. Now you'll be humming that to yourself all afternoon. All right, I'm going to mute all. I'm going to mute all, and I'm going to start the lesson for today, which is perspective. Okay, and then Diane will be holding the after the meeting for you guys that love to socialize. Okay, so I'm going to mute everybody and start the movie. Enjoy.
No sound.
Yeah, anybody that knows me well knows that I am pretty cheap. I use gear till it's about worn out, and I love to do things that yield great results and don't cost me anything. And maybe you're like that too. I don't know anybody who likes spending money unnecessarily. Cheap aerials then are what we're going to talk about here. And what's that mean? It just means getting a high vantage point without it costing you much, if anything at all. I'm up on the roof balcony of an old house in Lincoln, Nebraska, a historic home. I'm right here next to this glazed tile roof. And we've got a perfect shooting platform up here. If something good happens around us, that is. I mean, it's not good enough just to shoot down into the lawn. You need something going on. It's got to be interesting. But what's the point of getting up anyway? The point is the whole world is cleaned off. You've got all sorts of vantage points from up high that you don't normally see. So it's more interesting, but the ground becomes your background. The ground, the floor, the grass, whatever it is, a patio, it becomes your background. And that makes for good shooting because it's cleaned off, just the way I like it. So we're gonna start in and see what we get with our cheap aerials. Cheap aerials, nothing better than being on top of a very tall commercial building. Nice flat roof, very safe. Got permission to be here, of course. The light's overcast. This is fantastic. I love this. Actually, I'm just kidding. You know why? Because all I'm seeing around the edge of this roof are other roofs and the tops of them and the air conditioning units and the cables and the looks like that one needs a new shingling job. Is that interesting? Not necessarily. Point number one, if you're doing cheap aerials, you better have something interesting going on underneath you, or what's the point? Just because you're all excited about getting out onto a rooftop somewhere, that does not mean it's worth forcing other people to look at your pictures, to be honest with you. I do like the light. I like the height. The location, not so much. I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do up here. Really don't. In fact, I dare say I can do nothing up here, like as in just about zero. If there was a parade going on down the street and I was looking straight down on it, maybe, but traffic, maybe I could wait till evening and get car headlights and taillights streaking down the street in time exposure. I could do that, but probably be better off down lower than way up high. So what to do? Well, I've got an idea. It's right there. The state capitol building in Lincoln. It's the juiciest building in the entire state. It is an immense fortress built in the height of the Great Depression, and they paid for it with cash, and they spared no expense, and it's got a gold gilded dome with a big statue of a pioneer sowing seeds to the west on the top. That's where I need to be. Now, can I do that with a cheap aerial? Not unless it's a taller building or a tower right next door, and as you can see, there is not, alas, no cheap aerial for you on that. But we could do this. We could get a drone and we could hover it, as long as we don't go over 400 feet in our city, we're legal. We could hover this drone right in front of that sower's face, or back a little ways, hopefully, and do beautiful, beautiful pictures of the Capitol building in any light we want. This throws off a very small shadow. You can program it with your smartphone to do exactly what you want to do. It takes itself off, it goes and flies a GPS route at the proper height, proper speed, settles right back down to land at your feet again when you're done. Really remarkable. These things are getting cheaper and cheaper and better all the time. All the time. Amazing. So drones are a very nice way of not doing a cheap aerial free, but dang near. Hey, let's talk about the other ways that we do aerials. Now, these aren't cheap necessarily unless you've got a rich uncle who owns an airplane, but we should talk about this just a little while we're up here in the sky on this roof. You know, I've done a lot of aerials out of airplanes and helicopters, both. I want to just go through some of the things I've learned over the years. Number one, if somebody wants you to shoot with a below wing aircraft, a fixed wing now, light aircraft, an airplane, if they want to shoot with a below wing aircraft, tell them no thanks. Why? Because when you get up and you look down, all you see is the wing. I've made that mistake twice. How stupid am I? Next, make sure that the wings go above the aircraft, and when you get up, that's not the time to ask the pilot, well, can we open the windows, the dark green scratched up windows on this aircraft to shoot out? That's not the time to ask. The time to ask is before you ever hire the pilot, because I've had that happen 3 times. Again, moron right here. Okay, what else can go wrong? Well, sometimes I want to open the door. I want to take the door off. You can't open the door in flight, but you should ask your pilot ahead of time, can we take the door off? If I remain seat belted in, obviously, that is a safe thing to do. If you're seat belted in securely, your pilot will tell you whether or not that's a good idea. And if it's the dead of winter and it's 5 degrees below zero in Montana, don't let him talk you into taking the door off just for laughs. That's happened to me once. Really, really not any fun. What else to do? Well, you got to watch the strut in a fixed wing aircraft. That strut is going to be the bane of your existence. It's the thing that holds the wing on, obviously, gives it stability, but you're either going to shoot in behind the strut, which is best if you can, or in front of the strut. If you're in front of the strut, you're going to catch the propeller all the time. Unless you shoot a slow enough shutter to blur the propeller, then you're going to have this gray half circle in your frames. You've got a very little window there between the propeller and the strut to work if you're facing forward. And by the way, the wind is going about 125 miles an hour and you're sticking your face out into it, and that stinks too, especially if it's cold or buggy. Yeah, buggy, you heard that right. Goggles help a little bit. It's kind of tough shooting out of an airplane, actually, if you're doing it the way I am, and that is just trying to get whatever picture, whatever the cost. It does get pricey. A lot of aircraft are between 150 on up to $500, $600, $700, $800 an hour, depending. And you have to know what you want. Fixed wing aircraft are tricky. You can't just stay in one spot. You're passing over them. But I try to at least go low and slow. That's a big deal. Low and slow. I don't want the world rushing by me. I want to be lower with a wide angle lens to really show the lay of the land. That's a key thing for me. So what could be better than a fixed wing airplane if you can't really turn on a dime and hover when the last of the light gets to wherever it is you're working? A helicopter, of course. I photographed the Sower statue behind me on the top of the Capitol building a few years ago in a helicopter. Definitely the way to go. You're parked right there. You get to the spot you want. You need to make sure the helicopter has enough power, which means more hourly cost, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per hour. Find a client that will pay for that, by the way. And then go up, door off or window open, and they can park you in the sky right next to the object you want to work in. Now, again, you have to check with your local regulations to see what's legal. You don't want to break any laws ever, obviously. But really, if you can afford it, a helicopter is so nice. Unless you can break out a drone. This is really changing the way aerial photography is done. It is rewriting it right now, and these may make helicopters in many situations obsolete. Certainly a lot less expensive. You know, the other thing I want to mention about drones is that if you can afford to do so, hire, and it's just a one-time deal for you and this isn't your passion and you don't do it a lot, hire somebody with a drone, rent a drone, and let them operate it and put it in position, and you watch what the drone is getting, if you can get one that broadcasts a signal back. That is really ideal. That way you can really concentrate on your framing rather than your flying of the drone. These things are expensive, and you don't want to crash them. Let's talk about one more thing in terms of aerials that you have to pay for, and that is somewhere in between a drone that's moving around and a helicopter or a fixed-wing plane. A bucket truck, a cherry picker truck, a power utility truck, whatever you want to call it. That is a lovely platform. Very stable, can take you up to 100 feet, 60 or 40 feet easily, and that's enough many times. You want to just photograph your house from above? You know, a 60-foot boom should do it. Very cheap. Sometimes you can trade services with your local arborist, as I've done, to just get some nice pictures of my house as we were doing renovations in the backyard, re-landscaping, or just showing the roof and showing the house in nice light. A bucket truck, whatever you want to call it. It's a different name for it wherever you are in the country, but a truck with a boom arm and a man basket or a person basket in it where you can adjust the height, park there. There's no terrible whirring engine sounds. It's peaceful. You're up there with the birds, and you're getting exactly where you want, and you're not moving a bit. Even in a helicopter, depending on the day and the temperature and the winds, you can't hover rock solid. In a bucket truck, you can use a tripod and a cable release. You can just sit there and calm down and get it exactly the way you want it. There's value there. Maybe it's 50 bucks an hour, maybe it's 100 bucks an hour. That, my friend, is a cheap aerial in my book. Really cheap aerial. Okay, well, we know there's nothing up here to get besides that. Let's keep looking. So here I am, the Burwell Rodeo Arena in Burwell, Nebraska, and I'm up in the grandstands. I'm not here on a day when the rodeo is going full swing. I'm here on a day when it's, you know, spring and it's early in the year, and so I've got basically the whole place to myself. But I don't. I've got something interesting going on behind me. I've got rodeo queens practicing flag carrying and practicing formations. And so why do I want to be up? Why be up over them? Well, think about it. If I was down on ground level with them, this arena is packed full of hundreds, if not thousands, of white metal posts that form up the gates and the fencing. And man, is that distracting. And yet you get up a little bit. We're just maybe 2 stories up. Look at this. It's a beautiful, soft dirt arena, beautiful soft light, one nice tone of brown, and these rodeo queens are wearing beautiful outfits and they're carrying colorful flags, and this works. And there's no other place I want to shoot this really than up and down. Why? Again, because we're cleaning up the chaos of life. You cannot miss with something like this, and it didn't cost a penny, not a penny. So let's give it a try, huh? There's 2 ways to shoot this. First way would be extremely wide, showing the whole scene with the horses and the flags, the whole scene. and then getting in close. We do a little bit of a tight shot on the circle of horses. We look for somebody in the foreground wearing really good color, or maybe it's the American flag. That's one flag out of 6 is the American flag, and it stands out really well there. Super easy, very interesting, very pretty. Makes a nice graphic pattern, very nice. Okay, so there's a third element, isn't there? You choose wide or tight, wide or tight. We have nice soft light, so the light works in any direction, looks fine. Being a little bit nicer if it was sunny and we got big shadows off the horses. But the other thing is the moment. What moment do you want? Well, I think because the American flag is kind of the only one and the rest of them are all welcome flags, we're gonna wait till that American flag comes right around in the center, and then that's when we're really gonna focus and take our picture. There she is. We wait till that flag sticks out just perfectly. And that's it. That's it. So since we're already up here, what else can we try? We've done tight, we've done wide. Well, the one thing stills are great at is what? Putting motion into a blur and capturing motion in a way that nothing else can. So how about trying a tripod and a cable release and holding really still on this kind of bouncy platform up here. This is the announcer's box we're standing in. And let's try really slow shutter speed. We've got some subtle light, but I've lowered my ISO to as low as I can go on the camera. And I've made the aperture, the hole in the lens, as small as it can be, f/22. And on aperture priority, I'm getting 1/10 of a second. So let's just see. Let's see if we can do a little motion with these flags. I'm just looking for an impression of riders. Just an impression. Here comes a lady in a red shirt, and she's looking good. And if you can't tell by now, this is just looking for happy accidents. It totally is. That looks pretty good, actually. And as I'm doing this, I don't want it to be a total blurry mess. I want to be able to see their horses and riders. So I'm going to open the aperture up. And that shutter is going to increase. And you can hear the speed of the shutter increasing. Listen. So this is 22, 1/10 of a second. A little bit slow. Now we're going to open that aperture up. Let's go to f11. Much faster, much faster. In fact, the shutter's gone from 1/10 of a second to 1/40 of a second. We're still going to see movement in those horses. Now we're opening up the home lens to f8. Really fast, really fast. 1/80 of a second. We're going to see some movement in the horse's legs, but it's not going to be any sort of impressionistic painting at this point. I've opened it up again to f5, 200th of a second. Now we're starting to really freeze the horses. Okay? So I play around with it. Now I'm at 2.8, wide open. I'm getting a 500th of a second, and I'm back to where I was when I was doing it straight. So I'm going to go all the way back down to 22 again, all the way back down. f22, tiny hole, 1/10 of a second. And even when they're just walking, I can see in the viewfinder that we're getting a nice impressionistic feel of these horses. And when I see a rider coming through and the flag's flowing real well, it looks really, really interesting. And you got to shoot a lot because it's kind of a blurry mess. But the world is standing still. I want to try one more thing. It's kind of neat. Hey, ladies, would you mind if I interrupted you and put one lady in the middle? Maybe we'll put the American flag in the middle and you guys ride around her. Could we do that? Great. So this is one thing stationary in the center with the other horses moving around. So we'll have one thing sharp for sure and the other horses swirling color around. If this was a little bit later in the day, say around dusk, it would really be interesting. So I'm focused in on the horse in the middle, the American flag, and we're going to let the other horses blur by. Here we go. I'm shooting a lot of frames, you guys. I'm shooting a lot of frames. And you really wait for the moment when she's in the clear and everybody else is riding around her. But you have to shoot a lot. You have to shoot over and over again. That looks great. That actually looks great. It's interesting. It's different. And just something that you don't think of to do very often, do you? To have one thing stand still and the rest of the world swirling around. But this is a great opportunity to do it. There's no pressure on us. This is just kind of a practice thing for these ladies. And it looks really good. The key is, though, shoot a lot of pictures. You have to shoot a ton to get something to work out. And you'll see it when you edit also. You'll say, oh man, I wish I'd shot more. But I can see there's just little moments, and that's what I'm shooting, little moments when the lady with the American flag stands out and all the other horse riders are swirling around. You don't want them overlapping. You want it to be very clean. Just a frame here or two. It's just a little moment when she really stands out. That's really lovely. It's a good way to do it. So there's just one thing to remember, really, that you can do this too. It is so easy. If you're an active member in your community, if you read your newspaper every day, if you just watch TV news, you're gonna see things going on in your town that will be good or even better than this. It's not a problem. Take advantage of things like this. Get up over interesting subject matter. It cleans the world up. You can totally do this too, and it doesn't cost a penny. How great is that? Well, let's see how this turned out. Well, we've got a nice mix as they come together and a little closer, and that works okay. Nothing wrong with that. I always try to put the American flag first, but now we're talking. Now we're talking, getting the swirl of life there. It's looking good. The woman in the red shirt, love the red there and the light hat. So now we've got our anchor in the middle, something standing still or virtually still while everybody runs around her. Nice. There's lots of mixes. There's lots of frames that kind of work. That one's not as successful. A lot of dead space there. That one's better. More of the frame held together. I'm missing the woman in the red shirt though. Same reason there. That's probably a little better. Gives the horse's head more breathing room than that one. There we go. There we go. This to me is pretty successful. I don't care for that as much. I'd have to really pour over them, but love the woman in the red. It's implied. I like the way that the flag's moving. I like the way that the horse is mostly in the clear, and that works pretty well. Let's look at some older pictures now that I've done over the years and talk about different ways that I've been able to pull off aerials for little or no cost. How about this in the Atacama Desert? These are salt rings formed by drying action. It's very dry. Once in a blue moon, they'll get rain. And the way the crystalline action of the salt forms these rings. Man, how high up was I to do that? 5'9". I'm just standing there. You can't tell how big or small that is because I'm using a really wide angle lens, an 18, I think. And it goes on forever without any frame of reference besides the mountains in the background. So that's a nice way of doing something that looks like an aerial. You don't have anything in it other than a geometric pattern. And nobody can tell how high up you are. How about that? Kind of sneaky. This is just climbing the stairs at the Palio in Italy and looking down on people like ants. Again, these patterns, these geometric or graphic patterns are really something I'm drawn to, and a lot of people that shoot aerials are drawn to them as well. This is off basically the observation deck in Lincoln at the State Capitol building. One red vehicle, one red truck down at the bottom by that church kind of holds the scene together. Is it a great shot? No, but it's okay of my city. That's all right. And one little point of interest down there. This is not cheap by any means. This is one helicopter to another over the Boston Marathon. This is actually out of a hotel room during spring break in South Padre Island, Texas. A hotel room with a 600mm lens gets you an elevated position. And there you go, with the Jesus sand sculpture right in the middle to kind of hold interest. Here's another aerial, but again, I'm just climbing up on a couple of pallets here, a couple of pallet racks full of tile. They're very stable. I asked the owner's permission before I did it. I'm getting up and looking down, and you can really see the inventory this way. Another reason to get up high, to see how much of something there is. Very difficult to see this if you're ground level. And then you can just look straight down at your feet, the pallets I'm standing on, very colorful and vivid. Or how about this, out of an office complex, a guy going home at the end of the day, a little bit of dusting of snow on the cars and he's going out. This parking lot would do all sorts of things. If you had enough time and you worked there, let's say, and you had your camera, you could shoot it through all the seasons and it would be kind of fun. You'd get patterns in the snow, you might get leaves, certainly get wet once in a while and then dry as can be. And you'd see people wearing different clothing as they came and went to their cars. Nice, easy thing to do, and you can repeat it throughout the year, which would add to it. My daughter Ellen conned me into getting an inflatable jousting pit for her high school graduation party. Well, I shot it from down below, and it's okay. I mean, it's all right. There's Spencer, son Spencer and son Cole hitting each other. But, you know, phone lines and junk behind them, it just doesn't read. I mean, it's funny when people are beating me up and kicking me out of the thing, but look at how it reads when you get up. Get up above it, and man, does it sing. It really reads. Instead of having it so that you see the table set up for the party on the right, let's do this. Kick the thing over on the right-hand side of the frame and just show this world of green with this really bright red object in the middle, red and blue. Now it's working. It's just this big, bright, I don't know, man-made cube in the middle of a very peaceful Garden of Eden-like setting here of everybody's backyards and gardens. Love the way that this looks. In fact, when I got up there on my balcony to shoot down on this, I knew there wasn't any other picture. I mean, I tried framing it other ways, but this is the scene. Two little people, they stand right out, and the rest of the world's green. It's just the contrast of colors that really make that work. Then we see other things come up too. Other people trying it, little kids waiting their turn. And we can get in closer and show people beating each other up. The goal is to hit the other person off these little pedestals, knock them off balance into this inflatable raft. There's my friend Clark knocking Cole's block off and he goes flying. Quite hilarious. The big thing, the big show with that is that really nice overview. That's it to me. That's the frame. That's the one. Really cool. Not worth the price of the thing, by the way, which Ellen conned me into, as I mentioned. Okay, I'm still a little bitter. I'll get over it. Let's look straight down off the same patio down onto the back deck onto Spencer. Just a nice graphic scene with all the tile and the white grout, a little bit of color on the table, and there he is laying there passed out. I don't know, the kid's awful tired for a 10-year-old. I don't understand that. But looking straight down, that works. That works. And couldn't be any less expensive, unless you count my mortgage. This is the same patio, looking down on it during my father's birthday party, looking just down the way, off the balcony again, looking the other direction. It's a nice little scene. A friend got married in Florida, and I knew that they would be returning to the house with that sign over his shoulder. Didn't stage this or anything. I got up, shot out one of the windows in the house. I knew they would be coming up. Says it all. She's holding her bouquet. Their shoes are off. They've been to the beach, and he's got the wedding sign. I know they were just married. That works in an aerial form. How about that? An aerial that tells a story. Oh, this is a classic. Anytime you go to a wedding, I always do this. Just as, you know, I'm very seldom am I a wedding photographer, but I'll go just to help out the bride and groom. I'll shoot a few candids around the edges of the scene. This is a shot that's hard to cover if you're one wedding photographer and you have to be down low shooting the happy couple and all the other people in the wedding party straight on as they walk down the aisle. So I get up in the balcony. There's usually an organ or a choir loft back there. Get up, look down. There you go, right at the right spot. Free aerial. Oh, here's another way of doing a cheap aerial. Up in the bucket of a tractor. I don't think this is exactly OSHA approved, but I've got some hay tines there to hold on to. I'm not very high. That's all the height I need. But look at what you get. Holy cow, the entire wedding party. Looks like I'm up in a hot air balloon, but I'm not. I'm just not very high up, using a wide angle. Everybody's there waving, even the guys all the way in the back on a tractor. I love it. And it's a nice way of showing everybody in one fun scene. Solar panels over at the DeVries' house when they first put them up, when Clark and Lisa first put these panels up. Monster solar panels. Is it better like this or better like this? I like this personally. The lawn wasn't in quite yet, but boy, those things are massive. Really shows their size a lot better. Or how about this? Getting up in a little cherry picker or a man lift. This is a building my friend Dale was putting up, his construction company. Looks okay down below, but let's get up. And look, we can use the girders, the steel girders for the roof. We can use those to basically put guys in each section for a portrait. Now we come down a little bit tighter, zoom, and then there they are. They fit in those compartments. This is a beautiful place, Steptoe Butte in Eastern Washington. And it is the ultimate free aerial. You just drive up to the top of this thing. It's a state park. And if you go up there at sunrise or sunset, especially sunset, when the last light of the day is embracing some of the higher hills, it's epic. And there's a little grain elevator there. It's really a beautiful scene. And it doesn't cost you anything except the cost of gas to get there. So cheap aerials, you've heard me say it, but it is a great time to establish where you are, overview, and also create art. Make the world clean, right? Get up, get higher. It's unique, it's different, and you're not running into all the obstacles of life usually if you're looking down. The world is cleaned off just for you.
Okay, wake up, everybody.
Good.
I hope you got something out of that. Getting up high is just one way to change your perspective. Don't forget you can get down low too. And that does give you some different perspectives. So anyway, hope we all learned something, and we'll see you next week. Diane, you'll take care of the after the meeting, right?
I will.
All right. You guys that want to
Thanks,
socialize,
Bob.
stick around. Thank you all.
Oh, everybody, I want to be corrected. That wasn't Steven Spielberg. It was